Okay, so we have here what I'm calling the Spartan kit. This is designed to just be on your belt, in a backpack, kind of contain a little bit of everything. So if you forgot something, chances are it's here. Or if this is all you have, well, you'll live. You may not be super comfortable, but you'll live. So this is a lot of stuff to try to fit in here. But just as a reminder, so this is for sharpening. It collapses. You can do serrations or you can sharpen the straight edge of your knife with it. Okay, this is a multi-tool. We have a file we can use to file our fingers, a little saw to cut off branches. This is a can opener, and this is a bottle opener, like a soda bottle or a beer bottle. I'm going to put those away. And you can see I have a pair of scissors. They don't work super great, but they should be good enough to be able to cut something like the surveyor tape that I'll show you in a minute. And then on the other side, I have a knife. I'm putting it away. So there we have things that we can cut with along with this saw. And this is used between branches. You put a branch in here and you can make a bow saw out of it. And you can use that to cut down small branches, like the basics to get like, if you just had something larger, like a log that you needed to burn, or like branches to make a shelter. You can do a few things with this, but it's really just a backup in an emergency. Okay. We also have this right here. This is a special water bag from a company called Wazoo. And it's got some tablets here that can be used to purify water. There's also some rubber bands here so I can attach this to a stick and get it close to a fire to be able to boil water. Or I could just use the bag to carry water. But it's a compact way of us being able to handle water, which is critical. Okay, next we have some cord. Again, it's bank line, like a tarred rope. It's fairly strong, it's flexible, and it holds knots well. Plus, we can have quite a bit of it here. So that can come in handy for a lot of things. For example, we could string this between trees and then put up, say, our poncho as like a shelter, or our space blanket. And we could use things like we have some binder clips that I need to show. We can use those to attach the poncho or the blanket to the cord going across, right? So lots of these things can be used for many things. Okay, so continuing on, we have some navigation aids. That's to help us get around. So we have here a small compass, which will get us a general direction. You can see that that is south. Okay, and then this is called surveyor tape, and I can tie this around branches or trees to be able to see from a distance. A lot of times the problem you'll have in the woods is you get to where you go just a little bit to one side and eventually you'll get in a circle. So you can line these up as you go and tie a little piece and see it when you get to your next waypoint. This is something called a signaling ear. And you can use this to let someone know you're there from a distance. Similar to that, we have here a whistle. And this is part of a bigger tool, just a part of it. And the whistle part is actually pretty small. But you can use this because you can't scream for very long in the woods if you were lost. Say you twisted your ankle or hurt your leg, right? You'd be alive. You're not going to die right away, but you're in pain and you can't move. And people would be looking for you. You use a whistle because you can't yell for very long. That's it for signaling. Now this is kind of in line with the cord. This is a piece of like snare wire. It's a stainless steel wire. And I have about 1.5 meters of it right here. And so that's about 4 feet long if you're American. You can't pay attention in school. But this is enough. I could use this to fix all sorts of things. I could snare an animal. You're not likely to be gone long enough that you really need to worry about food, but if that keeps you busy, you can also bind logs together. There's all sorts of things you can do with this wire. You can make fish hooks out of it, for example. Okay, this right here is used to start a fire with tinder. Let's see what kind of tinder I have here. There's a few different things. So these are a little tinder. And these, I believe you fluff them up, right? It'll start to turn into something that I can use this with a spark, right? And it's difficult, but I could start a fire with that. And I also have a sewing needle. And you can turn this into a compass if you needed to. I should include like some dental floss or thread for this to be really useful. And just that. Okay, but it's handy to have, and I've got the space. I might as well put it in there. So I have a decent amount of tinder, and I can also light this with my lighter. That's my other fire method. I have a little bit of tape on here. I can use that and burn it to start a fire, or just have tape to tape things, like for example my shelter. I could put little tabs on there out of bend like a couple centimeters of it over the edge, poke a hole in it, right? And I'd have something similar to a grommet on the corner of my shelter. Okay, so we have fire. See how everything becomes compact? Things serve dual purposes. Okay. So this is a waterproof case. It's got tinder in it, and it also has a needle. And if there's other things I needed to keep dry, I could put them in there as well. Like maybe some pills, like I need heart medication, and I want to keep that with me. Okay. Moving on, we have a poncho, which you can see is like a plastic bag. It's very thin. This says it's reusable. It's not. You're going to get one use out of this. Okay, but that'll keep you dry. And this should keep you from freezing to death. It's supposed to reflect 90% of your body heat, but it also traps moisture, so you have to be careful with it. With this, you wrap it around you, and your body heat reflects back onto yourself. So this can be helpful in staying alive in situations like where if you're really cold, what are you going to do? Maybe you can't start a fire. Well, this is at least something. You'd be dry and you'd be warmer than you are. Also for binding, we have these zip ties. These are handy for all sorts of things. The way that this works is you wrap it around something, and then you would slide it through here. There's a little notch. You don't want to pull it too far unless you want it to stay, because it has little ratchets on it, and it'll lock and stay there, and then you have to cut it off. Now there is a way to release it, but it's difficult. But generally you would consider this something that you would need to cut, but it's fairly strong. You could use this to put 2 logs together, for example, right? You could use this to fix a shoe that's broken. Any of a number of things this would be very helpful for. And it doesn't take up much space. Next we have a bandana, which this is a piece of cotton cloth. There's lots of things you can do with that. You can turn it into char cloth. You can use it to keep the heat off of your head. You can use it to filter water. You can use it just to wipe your nose. There's any of a number of things you can do with a handkerchief, and it doesn't take up much space either. Okay, we've also got a notepad. We can leave notes, and these are called Write in the Rain. It allows us to write even if it gets wet. It won't fade or smear, and so someone will still get our note. We have a pencil to go with that. Now we're moving on to power and light. This is a battery bank. So I can use this in combination with this cord to charge, say, my phone, or something else, right? I've got adapters here, USB-C, Lightning, and then micro USB. Okay, that's always handy to have as a way to power something, right? You might just need this just because your phone's dead. It's not like it's an emergency. Your phone is just dead, and you need to make a call. Okay, this is another thing we have here. This is a flashlight, but it also, careful, there may be some flashing. You can see I can hang this from a lanyard on my neck, and I have light. Okay, I can push it. Sorry about the blinking. This is all UV light, and that can be used to detect things like fake money, if you're still using paper money. Okay, a red light. That makes it so your night vision doesn't get damaged at night. You could use this to read in the dark, like read a map. Okay, next I think it's blue. There is a blinking one, but we're good there. So let me try. Okay, that's 2. Hold to turn it off. 1, 2, 3. Nope. There we go. I just keep pushing the button until it works. This is a regular flashlight, right? It's just white, but it's helpful. And then one nice thing about this light is that it glows in the dark. You can't see it right now, but if you dropped it in the dark, you'd be able to find it if it's been out in the sun enough. Okay. So, lastly, we have a small medical kit. Now, a lot of the things in here will do double duty. For example, we could use this gauze pad to start a fire, along with these alcohol swabs. The triple antibiotic is also a petroleum jelly, which will burn. Hand sanitizer is rubbing alcohol, which will burn. Are you seeing a theme here? We have a couple little Band-Aids. Sometimes it's just to keep infection out, right? You get your hands cut all the time when you're out. And I have just 1 Tylenol here, but I would usually have 2. And this is just a powder. You can open it here and dump the powder straight in your mouth. So if you don't have any water, you can still take some Tylenol. These are nice to have. Okay? So I'm going to compact these a little bit. So that they'll fit a little better. One thing, this has bits sticking out all over. Well, let's get it in a bag. That should be easier to keep it from getting stuck on things. Okay, let's put all this medical stuff together in one bag. And I'm going to try to do this in a way that I can see what I have. So the way this is stacked, I should be able to see from the outside of the bag what types of things are in the bag. Because you'll forget. Let's get that in there. Now granted, some of this is based on my familiarity with what's in here. I'm spreading it out just a little bit. Press out the air, seal it shut. Okay. I can see I have alcohol swabs, Band-Aids, gauze, Tylenol, hand sanitizer, and antibiotic. You don't want to have to remember very much when you need it. Okay, so we've got that compacted. Okay, find a good way to compact that. And this was an adjustment to this pack. Before, when I took it apart, I didn't have the survey tape. And I didn't have the wire either. Now I can do this in a way too, where I can see that, hey, I've got survey tape, right? Let's use our creativity a little bit. I'm going to fold this in here, and then just have it peeking out the bottom. Right? I'm going to go ahead and put this in the case. I know that this will need to fit on the outside. Got my notepad. Got a whining cat. Need our pencil. Okay, and I'm going to try to put the pencil in here to keep the point from getting damaged. I think the best likelihood of that is having it right next to this, and then have the tip in the middle here so it's protected just a little bit. Okay, next thing, let's get the cord on the outside here. That's probably enough. Okay, now on the inside. Okay. One thing, these two things are on lanyards. Right? Got this cord around here. I'm going to tighten that up to neaten this. Want it nice and neat. Why? Well, because then you know it's in good repair. And you know where it is, right? I can see at a glance that something is missing. But if it's just chaos, then you do it different every time. Okay. That should be nice and neat now, right? In fact, I'm going to put that in one of these. And I'm going to put next to it a lighter, a tinder, and the knife. And these can be attached right here so that we don't lose our fire, our whistle, our tinder. Okay, and I'm going to attach that as well for now. But we want this to be accessible outside the kit. We'll see that in a minute. Okay, so let's start packing some other things. Okay, put that in there. A battery bank. Medical. Actually, zip ties first. Zip ties and anything that's not shelters going on this side. If I need to bind something, I know to come here, right? I'm going to make that visible on the top. I can see it's there, right? Put that in there. That in there. I think this wire would fit well right here. Reason is I want to know I have it. It's easy to lose track of a wire. That could come in handy in a lot of situations. That is on for some reason. Now, when I had this apart, I also turned. It's nice to know that this has a flashlight in it, huh? I charged this up and I charged up my light, right? Now, we can also recharge the light off that, not just your phone. See why it's helpful to have the battery? Okay, that means we don't have to carry extra batteries for our light either. And we would still have some light if we were out for multiple days, which hopefully doesn't happen, but you never know. Okay, now on this side, I'm going to put in my poncho. This will be easier if I take this out. It's okay to redo things. okay to redo it if it ends up being done right, right? Okay, we're going to get that in there. Get that in there as well on this side. So I know that shelter is over here. This seems to make sense up here. And then as well. Let me try to squeeze that in there. Inside's a little full, so it's going over here. That's why it was there before, right? Okay, but we can see that it's there at least. So we got water, shelter, signaling, medical, miscellaneous, right? Got our knife that we can sharpen. Got our hank of rope. Or bank line in this case. But cordage, if you're going by the 10 C's. There's a way of keeping track of all the essentials you need to survive in nature. Okay, lighter. We got fire, light, water, shelter. We got the very basics. And we're not going to be comfortable. That's not the point. The point is to survive so that you can fight another day. Because you never give up. Right there. See how neat that is? We did a little bit better this time, I think, than the last one when I took this apart. That's part of the engineering process, is improving things as you go, right? Okay. Let's see how it poses. It's a tight fit, but I think I can still get the handkerchief up at the top, and then I also want to have the light and the cords in there. So let's see how I can pack those cords. Put those down and out of the way. That's better. We have quite a bit of room at the top now. Okay. Now, there's a couple options we can do with the light. Before I did have it clipped on the thing, but I found it's helpful to have it at the top to make it so that I can pull it out if I need it. But I also don't want it coming loose. So I'm going to try to figure out a way of attaching. Putting this at the top here, with just a little bit of it hanging out, so I can find the light in the darkness, pull it out, but I don't want to lose it. So I'm wondering if maybe I loop it through here. If that would work. Let's try that hypothesis. It's part of a scientific method or an engineering method, which is just, what if I did this? Okay, I'm going to refold my handkerchief so that it fits better. I want to get it about that wide. Nice and neat. See, if I open this at a glance, you can see everything that I have, everything that I need. Push that down just a little bit. Put that in there. Okay. Let's close it. And I'm going to hold this together. Now, you didn't think at first, probably, that all that would fit, huh? Such a compact little package. Let's see how that works. I think I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to pack the light in the very top. Have it come this way. I'm going to lace it in here so that it comes out smoothly. Think ahead just a little bit. As you do it, how can you improve this, even if it's just a little bit? Now, something else I need to do with this is document it, right? It'd be helpful to have a card that said, hey, this is what you've got in here, and it's this old, right? Tucking. Okay. Nice and neat. And there we go. That is our Spartan bag. See how small it is? We got all that cool stuff inside here. And you can slide your belt through here. You can lock this into the webbing on a backpack with Molly on it. Or you could just use a binder clip and attach this somewhere else, right? But it's a little bit of peace of mind. Will you use most of the stuff here? No, chances are you won't. But it's still nice having it. And you'd be surprised at how many times you can use something like this if it's just in the bottom of your backpack, right? You've got all this stuff with you and you don't need to worry about it. Did I bring a charger? Did I bring a cable? Do I have a notepad or a pencil or a pen? Like, you could swap that out with a pen, right? You want to customize a kit like this to you. That's why you have to build your own. And you have to put a patch on it that gives it meaning for you, right? For me, I've decided to call this Spartan because it's just the basics. And that is a Spartan wear. Mola Nabe. Come and take it. It's a cry of freedom-loving men everywhere. There we go. Talk to you later.